So it's pretty evident ever since the Drake and Kendrick beef, nothing has felt the same, bro. No pun intended. It's seriously getting to a point where it's a little concerning. It feels like ever since the Kendrick and Drake beef, it's just like all roads always lead back to Kendrick and Drake. Regardless of whatever the conversation is this week, at some point the aftermath is always going to dwindle back to Kendrick and Drake. Whether it be Drake dropping the Nokia video and Kendrick responding 8 days later with another black and white video, whether it be the Super Bowl, whether it be Kendrick's tour right now, and people are comparing it to Drake's tour with all the signs and everything. There's just a lot going on, and it feels like the conversation is always steering back to this rap beef, even though we're a year removed from the rap beef already. So I want to talk a little bit about it and just make a quick little video about it. If you're new here, my name is Ron. I make a couple videos on hip-hop every week, so if you're to subscribe so you never miss a future upload, and let's get right into the video. So I used to be Pay, made a video about this. I used to be Pay, he makes hip-hop content as well, so shout out to bro, go watch his video. He goes into a lot of detail on this topic. I just watched this video and wanted to give my opinion on it. So in his video, he mentions that the rap scene right now feels like a nuclear war zone. When a nuke is launched, the area that it affects is uninhabitable for many years. And that's exactly what it's felt like with the Drake and Kendrick beef. Is his point is that this big bomb went off, and then all that's left in the rap scene is just the aftermath of Drake and Kendrick. Everything else that happens leads back to Drake and Kendrick, or somebody ends up steering the conversation back to Drake or Kendrick somehow. The only moment that we've had in music since then really has been Playboi Carti, I Am Music, in terms of rap, because everything else is like Lil Baby drops, he's the big talk for a week, and then we go back to Drake and Kendrick. Lil Durk just dropped from behind bars, and nobody's paying attention to it. I barely even knew. I haven't listened to that tape yet because, quite frankly, I don't care. But no, I like his music. I just don't care about his full albums too much. But it's crazy that it just feels like everything is just small little moments. Even Tyler, the Creator's Chromacopia, bro. That shit came and went. It feels like everything's sort of just coming and going right now. And it's just crazy. Pay made a really good video about it. Pay talked about a lot of this stuff, and so shout out to him. I just think it's crazy that a lot of artists are dropping right now, and a lot of artists are even scared to drop right now because of the aftermath of this beef. When you look at Cardi, he did 300K first week, but that's Cardi. He's an outlier in the situation. He's somebody who is always going to do well regardless of when he drops, and he's going to create that moment for himself. But you look at Navdit, was supposed to do what, almost 70K? And it got dropped down to what, sub 20K because of the tactics he was using. And that's something that he got clowned about for a couple days, but it sort of came and went. Nobody really talked about it. Same thing with Same thing with Lil Durk dropping. He dropped from behind bars. Probably the last full piece of work that Lil Durk had his hands on that we'll listen to for the next couple of years at the very minimal. And it doesn't seem like there's really too much conversation around it, or really that anybody's wanting to talk about it. Same thing with when Wham dropped. Wham was quick come and go. Really, like, what big moments are we having in hip-hop this year other than I Am Music, Drake and Party Next Door's album, Kendrick going on his tour? What big moments are we really having? J. Cole and T. Grizzly just did Blow for Blow. That was a crazy record. I messed with that a lot. Ian's dropping, but there's nothing in the mainstream huge project dropping wise because nobody's really active this year. A lot of the big artists dropped last year. We're not going to probably get a J. Cole album this year. We're not going to get a Tyler, the Creator album this year. We're probably not going to get a Kendrick album this year. We're probably not going to get we might get a Drake album this year. Who's the next biggest mainstream artist going to drop? What, Jack Harlow? Like, come on now. Rap needs big, prominent artists to continue pushing the genre forward. And right now it feels like we're at a standstill because it's not that there's a lack of prominent artists. It's that nobody's dropping right now, or nobody's creating a big moment to take away from the Drake and Kendrick beef. Because even everything that Drake does, everything that Kendrick does is always brought back up to that, is always going to be a bigger talking point right now than anything that anybody else does. And it's crazy to me because it feels like we're living in a time now that the whole rap game revolves around these two guys, which is crazy because they've always been prominent figures in the game, and they've always arguably been the two biggest figures in the game while they've been active. But it just feels like now it's bigger than ever, especially when these guys are at the tail end of their career, because realistically, they're both pushing 40. Do you guys really think Drake's got another 5 albums in him? Do you think Kendrick has another 5 albums in him? And this always leads back to the conversation is, where is hip-hop going from here? Who is the next generation of superstar? Is Ian going to rise to the ranks and sell 100K first week? Maybe. A lot of artists that people doubted did it. Nobody thought that. Believe it or not, bro, 10 years ago, nobody thought that that Young Thug would ever sell more than 20, 30K first week because he was stuck in that cycle of selling 20, 30, 40K, but he was never, actually I remember seeing Young Thug sell 14K first week. So it is very possible for one of these underground guys. Ken Carson is definitely here to stay. He's made a name for himself, but who else, bro? Jack Harlow has made a name for himself, but he doesn't have the respect of hip hop, and he already says he doesn't give a fuck about the respect, so I guess he's going to mold into another G-Eazy type of figure. And who else do we have from that aside in the next gen that's going to be here to really push the genre forward? Who do we really have to push the genre forward? Who is going to be here in 5 years selling 60, 70, 80K plus and really making genre-bending music or really pushing the boundaries of what the current sound is? Because obviously I don't expect the big influential sound of hip-hop to be the same in the next 5, 10 years that it is right now. It's always constantly changing and there's always constantly evolution going on there, but I'm just interested to see is what's going to happen next, who's going to rise next, because we can't constantly just rely on these older rappers to continue pushing the game, because yes, at this point they're older rappers, they're legends of the game. I grew up listening to them, no disrespect to them, but they can't keep carrying the genre forward forever. At some point it's got to give. At some point they're going to dwindle down in their careers, and that's not through any fault of their own. They might just even stop dropping before then, but realistically, the genre as a whole, somebody's got to pop out. Doechii might do it. Doechii's been getting a lot of hate, but also Doechii is one of the most talented out right now. I don't care what anybody says. Doechii is one of the hardest artists out. If y'all haven't given her a chance, or you just have that she's an industry plant bias, then you're not listening to what's going on in the genre. Listen to her mixtape, bro. She is super talented. She is one of those artists that give me hope. I can see her, Ken Carson, who else? Ian. If he stays on top of shit, Yeet, really, Yeet, I forgot to mention, but Yeet's already been established for the past couple years, but he's super young, and we need to just continue pushing forward and there needs to be an artist that comes along and makes, oh my goodness, buddy. Somebody's got to come and push this forward and just be the next star, or just create the next moment, because right now, what's really going on in hip-hop? It feels like there's nothing really of substance going on. It feels like nobody's really dropping, or nobody's being paid attention to at the level that they should be. I do think there's a lot of promising artists that haven't really blown all the way yet. Win out of Portland, she's going to go crazy. Obviously, you have guys making their own wave, like Baby Kia, the demon himself. You got Blackboy Max doing his thing, but I don't know how serious he is about the music because he's got a full career in streaming. No disrespect to him. I'm sure I've seen him grinding, but it's the same thing. Like, you got such a successful career. How much attention can you really put to the music? And then you have a lot of people trying to make their wave, but nobody other than Yeet, Ken Carson, Doechii that really cemented themselves. Even I guess you can throw in Jack Harlow in there, but he's more of a pop act nowadays. So one of these guys need to continue to drop. They need to continue to make moments and just captivate and in essence, take away from the market share from Drake, Kendrick, J. Cole, because it's about that time, bro. It's really about that time. Not saying that I want their downfall, but in terms of setting up so that whenever these guys stop dropping, then it's not a bunch of mainstream rap fans just listening to their old music and not looking forward to what's coming out in the future. Because that's what's going to happen. If these artists that are younger, newer, aren't creating these moments, or they aren't having the eyes on them in terms of new music and new rap fans, then everyone who's been listening to rap for the past 10 years, they're just going to keep listening to their old playlists. They're going to discover new genres. They're going to find more underground artists. And that's just how it always goes. So rap is definitely in a drought right now. Do I think it can change? 100%. I think all it takes is one song, one moment, one influential artist to come along and really set everything back off. We've seen it numerous times. Shit, we've seen Lil Pump himself pretty much started the whole ignorant era and that whole terrible music era of 2018. But I'm excited to see what happens with hip-hop over the next few years. It's just crazy how much of a drought we're in and how slow everything feels right now. Even just myself, while I'm thinking of videos, there's really not much going on. There's a couple things I can talk about that are pretty niche, but just in general, just like a lot of the stuff that I can talk about is just quick. I have to make it that day or post it that day. So I'm excited to see what happens over the next 5 years. It's going to be interesting to see what the next big moment in rap is that's outside of Kendrick and Drake. It is interesting, and whenever there are new developments, it's cool, but other than that, I think it's time we move past it as a whole, and I think it's time that as a whole we move on from it, but I know that we never will. When you look at the last generation, they're always, to this day, still talking about Tupac and Biggie, and that's what this rap beef is. It's going to be 20 years from now, I'm gonna be telling my kids about Drake and Kendrick. We all are, realistically. This is our old head moment for 20 years from now. So that's exciting, but at the same time, let's move forward with the now, and then we'll save that nostalgia for the future, if that makes sense. But if you guys stuck around this far in the video, thank you guys so much for watching. What do you guys feel about the current state of hip hop? Do you guys feel that it's a little dead right now? Do you guys feel like maybe it's not dead? Maybe I just been living under a rock? Let me know. Remember to like the video and subscribe if you did make it this far so you never miss a future upload. I'm going to try to be a lot more, I am being a lot more consistent with the videos. I'm doing a lot more on TikTok too with the live streams, and I'm also posting some shorts. I'm putting a lot more effort into shorts here recently. So definitely check those out. I appreciate you guys so much for sticking around watching the video. Thank you guys so much for liking the video and subscribing, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.